audible?
A little bit feeble.
Yeah, am I audible now? Hello.
Yes, better, Melvin. Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you,
Yeah,
Melvin.
we
Thank you.
can hear you.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, Mohiddin, you are.
Hello.
Hello. You're audible, Mohiddin.
Hello. Hello.
You're audible, Mohiddin.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So today we are going to talk about a database persistent. So in this session we are going to talk about how to connect into database from Python and what is the various database available. So what is database before that? So what is database? What we can simply call it as what is database?
Collection of data.
Pardon?
Collection of data.
Collection of data. It's a place where we can store data. So that data can be anything. What is that? Any kind of objects, the Pythonic objects. So that is a database, nothing but a storage, some certain persistent storage. Okay. So we are all using a variables, the variables, etc. Right? So what we are doing with variables, so we are doing some modification and storing into some variable, but it is temporary. It is not persistent. Database is nothing but a persistent storage. So it will be stored in some physical location. So it will keep writing your data, and you can able to retrieve from that. Okay, so we have certain method to read and retrieve the data, like there is a like SQL, NoSQL, etc. are there, right? So that is about database. So the transaction going to happen through some set of queries, right? So we are going to talk about the various. So what is the available persistent storage available in Python? So before moving on, the first thing we are going to talk about is pickle. So what is pickle? So pickle, we have to say import Python, sorry, import pickle. So pickle is one of the persistent storage concept which is available in Python. This is actually derived from a C language. So there is a package called C pickle is there. So it is a derivation of C pickle. So we have that similar concept in it. So what is pickle will do? So pickle will convert your Python object into string, and it will be stored in some certain file. If you want, we can unpickle it. So what is unpickle? To retrieve the Python object from that string. That is called unpickling. That's it. Okay. So why we need these kind of files? Any idea? So I said we can store and retrieve Python object from certain file. So what is an advantage of storing Python object into files?
Store them in database.
Pardon? saying Python objects. Why we need to store and retrieve Python objects? So when it is necessary.
Reuse.
Reusability. So reusability. So when in terms of like say for example, we are having a two modules and we want to access one module data in another. Is it possible? It's possible because just say import the module name dot object, you can use it. But if you made any changes, it is temporary, so it won't change your source data. It is temporary, right? But if you want to make it permanent or persistent, so you need to keep that object into certain file, then only it is possible. Otherwise, if you want to keep it in a Python file alone, it is not possible because once you code it, it is there. It is static. That's it. And if you want, so it won't change until you modify yourself. The codes are static. It will start. It will start to reflect. Sorry, I mean it will start to change when once you modify the source. Otherwise, even though it's a defined object, it is still there as it is. So what we are actually doing, we are actually taking out the Python objects separately to to grant access to modification. That's it. So that is an advantage of using storage system. So, and I'll tell you one example so you can easily compare with it. So username password is a better example. So if you are actually building some application and you want to ship out to some customer or consumers, got it? So uh, you are using the basic data like storage system to store username and password. So if user want to change the password, what to do? And you had some certain credentials, the pre-coded credentials there, like but if you want to change it in future, what to do? So you need to change, if you are saying username equal to password equal to pass equal to system, will it work? It says syntax error because pass is a reserved keyword. So say password. Okay, so what happened, it is actually static, we all know that. So I have created a variable along with a value, so it's a static. And you have shipped, so you made it as a package and shipped out to consumers or customers. Okay, so in such case you want to change the password or they want to change the password, what to do? They won't be able to edit your code because code is static. The instruction will never change. That time there is a no way to change the username and password. It is fixed, hard coded. So to make it dynamic, you need to take it out to some files. Even it can be text files. Why we are using with storage system? So I thought someone may ask me the question. We have a files. Why we need a storage system? So we are having a text files, right? We can write the same stuff into text files, but still, why we need a storage? The simple solution is in a text file. If you wrote anything, it will be stored as a string format. If you retrieve, you won't be able to retrieve properly. So it will like a username equal to credo. You won't be able to say username. You won't be able to pick it. It will be give character by character encoding. So say USERNAM. So it never know username is a variable and credo is a password. Sorry, credo is a value. It will never know that because text file is text files. It will simply store a content as a string format. But if we in terms of data object, so it will actually store your object in corresponding, so in its original data types. But so the pickle is one among that. So what is pickle actually doing? So pickle will help us to store Python object into string format. Reason is we won't be able to encode it, so decode it directly. If you want to decode, you need to unpickle it. That is the only way. Otherwise, people will thought, oh, this is a string. That's it. I'll show you that. So first step, you have to import pickle, and then next. So in pickle, we have four options. DAR, that is load, loads, dumps. These are the four major attributes. Okay, so dumps going to store your data. Loads going to retrieve your data. So this is going to deal with pickling. These two will going to deal with unpickling. These are the two variants. Okay, And what is the difference between dump and dump s? S means string, and load s means again s means string. Loading from a string, dumping into string, I mean into variable. This will dump your data Python object into file. This will dump your Python object into variable as a string. Got it? So let's start with dump. Where you say pickle dot dump. So I'm supposed to pass dumps. Yeah. So pickle dot dumps, we can able to store Python object as a pickle string format. Let's see that. So what is say 1, 2, 3? So it will look like this. So this is called pickle object. So this will actually convert your any type of Python object into string format. By default, we can say it is a string format. It's a pickle object. So it will be in a string format. Understand? So even it can be any type of data type. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm going to show a pickle dot dump. S means into string, into variable. Got it? It's a L. Let's say P. So to print P, look like this. Okay, you want so we won't able to decode it. So if you want to decode, there is the only way is unpickling. Just say what is the way to unpickle? How to unpickle?
Load,
Load
load and loads.
loads. Load for unpickle from a file. Load s means string. Got it? Load s. What to do? You need to pass that pickled object. You got it? Got it? So this is called pickling and unpickling. So now let's move on to the file. We have to store the same stuff into some files. Let's see that. So let's say I'm going to say I need a file before that. F equal to open. F equal to open and so pickle default comes with PKL format. .pkl format, and even you can use a .txt also. So but this suggested format is .pkl, so I have to say write mode. Got it? And I'm going to say so help pickle, what they saying, sorry, pickle dot dump. So you need object first and file second object. Okay, so this is what they're going to do. And so I'm having a Python object here. So let's say pickle dot dump. What is the first argument should be Python object, and second is what, a file object. Got it? So you have to use WB. Okay, so WB, and the data was dumped into it. So you can add any number you want to. Let's say I'm going to say 1, 2, 3 as an integer in it. It's done, and I'm going to store some range input. Okay, so now once you're done with it, what to do? So once you start writing into some file, what to do?
Save.
I have to save f dot
Close.
close,
Close.
because that is per file. Got it? So it was there in my folder called home. So here it is. That is that file sample, right? Yeah. See that? You won't be able to view it. Got it? If you want to view, you need to use unpickle. So pickle dot load the file. Will it works? So you need to pass that file object to open your file. Is it, will it works or not? Any guesses? Because these are the advanced topic, right? So I want your understanding level. So I'm actually uh, confirming your understanding level. So how you are actually understand the concepts. So when I say pickle dot load of f, will it work or not?
I think
So
it
what
will
I'm
work.
passing is correct. See, if you need some file name. But I'm saying, will it work or will it raise error?
It will work.
Pardon?
It will work.
So the first thing is we have closed the file. That is the first one. So because so once you close, so this is invalid. This will become invalid. So it is not possible. And second thing is we open file in write mode, not in a read mode. So here in a load, what we are actually doing, we are retrieving, means reading from files, right? So this mode won't help you out. So it will raise unsupported operand read. Understand? So you need to open your file in a which mode? A read mode. Next, say dot load. So you have to use RB. Okay, read by a byte mode. Pickle dot load. So this will act like dot next method. So you all know a next method in generator, right? So whenever you're saying next, it doesn't have some limit. So once the limit exists, it says what it
Iteration error.
says, iteration error, right? Similarly, pickle, we have to use the same stuff again. So once we don't know that, so we actually had a three data in it. So it will actually retrieving a three. But when you say again, what happened? There is nothing left out in your memory, so it will raise an error. End of file error. EOF means end of file error. Ran out of input because it doesn't know the limitations. So to handle that, we have to use try catch exceptions. Understand? So to handle this error, we have to use exception, error handling. Got it? So this is the way to retrieve a Python object from TKL file. So if I use txt, let's see what it is. So we can able to open txt file, but we won't able to see what is there in it. So it is unreadable format. Understand? So that is all about database. So in a data store, you can able to store and retrieve from that set time persistent stored file. So because data, what is database? So database actually going to store and retrieve your, so store your data into some files only. Even it can be any type of data in a secured way. That's it. That is the difference between a normal files and database files. Got it? So in this case, we won't able to read what is there directly. But if you want to retrieve, we need some certain medium. So even if it is a database like we are using a SQL or NoSQL, etc., some certain panel, right? Similarly, here we have to. So if you want to retrieve, we need a pickle unpickling. So unpickling what? So pickle dot load to retrieve the data. So understand what is unpickling and pickling? Any doubts in it? So I told you why we need this also. So hope you get it. So why we need pickle or a store these kind of storage, because Python object. So if you're defining a Python object in a Python code, it is static. If you want to modify, it will be temporary. It won't store permanently. So if you want to use the same object in another module, it is not possible. You can able to read it, but you won't be able to modify it. If you want to modify, what to do? You need to understand what I'm saying.
Okay,
What I'm saying. Yes.
how to modify the objects in the pickle file?
Pardon?
How to modify if I want to update some value in that pickle file means how to.
Okay. Retrieve and store it back.
Okay.
That is the way. Okay. I'm just explaining these concepts existent. So we'll see the beyond. So what is that advanced storage system is available? So this is, let's start from basic, like a concatenation. So we have seen a bit say a certain concatenation, right? It is our choice yours. So what to choose? So some basics to advanced is available from in a concatenation, like a plus symbol to dot format, old and new format is available, right? Similarly, so pickle is one of that, one among that. So we have an advanced storage system is available. Let's see, we'll see that too. Okay, this is there, that too is there. So that I am showing both available. Choice is what to choose. So this is a old one, like in formatting we have seen old and new format, right? Pickling is old concept derived from a C. Let's see the new format. So new storage system. Got it? So what is the limitation you have noticed in pickle? What is the limitation you have noticed in a pickle? One is what you told just before. The one thing is what you have told just before. What is that? Hello? Have you understood what I'm asking? Hello? Hello? I'm audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what is that limitations you have noticed in pickle?
We can't see the code in that file.
That is not a limitation. That is all about data storage. That's why we are using data storage, because if it is a normal text file, we can able to view. Anyone can view. See, if you want to store username and password into text file, anyone can view, right? It is not preferable. That's why we are using a storage system. So no one able to view directly. If you want, we have to unpickle so or decode it through the corresponding options. That's why you're using storage. So what is the limitation I'm asking? So that is one thing is what you told me just before. What it is? To change object,
Modifying.
difficult, right? If you want to do any modification, it is difficult in pickle. Correct?
Yeah, we don't know the variable name. Like we just having the values in that file.
Yes, sir. So
That
it
is
will
the.
simply retrieve it. Got it? And second thing is what? We never know how many objects are there. So it is actually reading line by line by line. So we don't know how many arguments are there. So in certain name we got end of file error. That is in pickle. So to overcome that, there is a module called, that is the next one. So shelf is there. Okay. So what is shelf? Shelf is a persistent storage mechanism. So this is actually built on top of pickle, and this is dictionary like object. Got it? So dictionary like in the sense persistent dictionary like objects means what?
means what? So here they are using .dbm files. Dictionary means what? Dictionary like means. Now here, is it possible to change anything we want to? And both the limitation resolved in it, will it be? So I said it is a dictionary like. So the both two limitation will be resolved or not in it. If you know dictionary very well, you will
Yeah,
easily answer it. Pardon?
we can update the values by key
Yes,
because
based
of
on key.
dictionary,
Yeah.
but the number of rows, I don't know.
We can get it. So because here it is not row based, right? In
Okay.
dictionary, how data was stored?
Key
How
and
data
value.
key value. So we know how many keys are there, right?
Okay.
It is a finite. It is not an infinite. Because when you say dot keys, you will get complete key list. Got it?
Yeah.
That's it. So it is completely like a dictionary. So when you say dir of shell, so you will get complete attribute which is available for dictionary plus one attribute. So first we need to open a file f is equal to shelf.open. So we don't need to open. Open is built in shelf. So we don't need .wb. We don't need to say or etc. It will take care of it because it is a two-way binding, right? We can store and retrieve in the same time. That is an advantage of shell. In pickle, if you want to read, we need to open the file in read mode. If you want to write, we need to open the file in write mode. But in shell, it is not like that because it's a two-way. Either you can write or you can read. Anything you can be able to perform it. Got it? So let's say sample.dbm. So the preferable one is .dbm. Okay, we don't need to say anything beyond that. So let's say f is your dictionary like shelf object. Say dir. I told you you will find all of the attributes which is available in dictionary plus one. What is mean by plus one? You will find dot close. So close is related to what?
Save the file.
Save the file because
Saving the
dictionary we don't need that close, right? Because it is not going to save it in a file. But here it's going to save it in a physical location. That is a persistent storage. Understand? So we have all of the other options like update, values, keys, etc., etc., etc. So we can perform anything we want to. So how to? So I have opened files. If you want to store, what to do?
Bro, you said the shelf is on top of pickle, right? It's
Shelf,
so it's
yeah. Yes.
it will depend on pickle or it will work
It is not
independently.
depend on pickle. So it is actually on top of mean what? So Python 3 is written on top of Python 3 means so it contains the features of Python 2 in Python 3. The syntax might varies. So they have means they have reduced the limitations. They have included more possibilities. So they have removed the what is that odd things available in Python 2? That's things, such things. So in Pickle we have faced two issues, right? One is what? It is difficult to modify the object, and we don't have a variable value format. So it is we won't able. So we don't know what is that notation for value. So we will simply get a value alone, not a variables in it. Understand? And what is that? What else is there? What else we have seen? We
Number
never know how many objects are there in it. But in dictionary, everything is sorry. In a shell, it is overcome.
okay.
So
We
we
can
can
use
say
whichever we want, like
yes.
that.
So previously in the dumb, I had stored L 1, 2, 3 range kind of, right. Now I'm going to show f of L. It should be string, right? We all know it should be string. Key should be string. And what? L. That's it. Data was stored. So once you and then when you convert, it will look like this. Because so when you print f at it, it will show something like that in Python 3. But in Python 2, it will look like this. So we all know in Python 3 they have included the concept called generator in it, right, to make it more memory efficient. We have came across like a range is there, etc., etc. So in Python 2, whatever it shows as a traditional object like a list or dictionary, in Python 3 they are moved into that object. Reason is for memory efficient. Similarly, in shell also, it look like this object. If you want to extract, just convert it into dictionary. It's a one time, right? So it's a simple one. You all know how to convert. So here memory will allocate. In this case, it won't be. So it will be still, it will memory efficient. Still, it is memory efficient. Got it? So, and again, if you want to store a number, just say 1, 2, 3, f of range of 10. Got it? When you print, it will look like an object. So just extract it. So see that you can able to retrieve all of that, but it was still not saved at all. So if you want to save, just say f dot close. Otherwise, so I will open another terminal. I'm going to read it. Python 3 f equal to, sorry, import shell dot open sample dot dbm. So it's a preferable one. dbm, it is not available because we have not stored it. Say f dot close. Now done it. So let's move on to that. Got it? Once it's saved, you'll see the changes which is reflected. Understand? And I open it again to read. So we can able to use only once it seems. So close it here. Now you can use. And if you want to make changes, what to do? Just say f of f dot keys is there. Yeah. So if you want to change n into credo, yes, I did it. So I have to store it. So I'm going to open it here. Changes was reflected. Got it? Understand? Now it is possible, right? So to store username and password in a proper way. Got it? What is shell? Any doubts in it? Clear? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So next we'll move on to another database called ZoDB. So what is ZoDB? So ZoDB is nothing but it's a pure Pythonic database. Let's see what it is and what it's going to do. Okay. So if you want to use a ZoDB, it is not a pre-install. We need to install and using it. You know how to install. Say pip install ZoDB. This is the way to install package. Got it? So you need to install and start using it. Pip install ZoDB. So what is ZoDB? So it's a purely Pythonic database. So we all know SQL, right? ZoDB is a native database for Python. Object database for what is native database in the sense the query was in Python format. So what is SQL and NoSQL? SQL means they have a certain query like a structured query language. That is it. What it means if you want to select, just say select start from this table, insert into this table the values, delete from this table, and update this table, kind of, right? So we contain some certain query. So data native for Python means all transactions going to happen in Python code only. We don't have a dedicated or a SQL transaction query like that. So here all the query was in Python alone. So what is an advantage? We don't need to learn certain language for that. So if you know Python, that is enough for that, more than enough for communicating with Pythonic own database that is called ZODB. So it's a native storage. Okay. So what is the difference between shell and ZODB at all? So it's a shell is it's like a single collection. So it's like a one dictionary. So if you want, you can add any keys in between one dictionary. But ZODB is not like that. It's a collections. We can add any number of dictionaries in it. It's like a table. So it can act like a table. So if you took a setting storage, we can add a number of objects in it. So it's like a big structure. So it's a big structure. That is ZODB. Got it? So we'll see here, we are going to talk about the basics of how to configure a ZODB at all. So first, once you install with it, we need initially we needed two things. One is file storage and DB. So what is file storage? It's nothing but it's going to deal with opening a file. That's it. So we need some certain file to store and retrieve, right? So that is like some file location. So we need to pass that location to file storage. It will take care of it. It will take care of if it is there, it will open. If it is not there, it will create and open. That's it. So file storage will deal with it. So that is open built-in function is come up with file storage. And DB is what? To initiate database. To initiate your own database, we need DB class. That's it. So this is my configuration. A class myZODB. In constructor, this is a constructor with parameter. I'm having a path. What is the path? A database path. Database path. So once we have to read that path using file storage, and as assigning it into some class variables. And to create a DB, I need that file, right? So in a database, I need to pass that file. This is the two step. And once done with it, we need to open the database. So here I'm initiating a connection. So here I'm establishing the database connection. So I'm opening it. That's it. So this is what? This is a collection. So I'm initiating one collection. So here I'm opening a database, and here I'm initiating the connection, assigning it to some variable. So what you want to store and retrieve will be taken care by DB root 1. So with the help of constructor, I have opened this. That's it. So in this file, what to do? So when I run this file, what will happen? Try to understand yourself. So I'm having to import to class, and here is my. So which line will going to execute very first? Which line? Is it possible to identify?
OPR equal to.
So line number 54, because so everything else was what? Was residing inside a class. This will start to execute when we instantiating this class, and again, so this line will start to execute when we instantiating this class and when we calling this method. Otherwise, it won't start to execute. Got it? So obviously, line number 54 going to start execution. So what is this? What it is? What it is?
Class.
Class? That is no, I know it's class.
Class instantiation.
Instantiation. When you instantiating it, there is no constructor, so nothing happens. And then I'm saying dot retrieve. Understand? So retrieve means this method will be triggered. I'm passing a path, right? So what I'm doing? So what I'm doing in retrieve?
Yeah, again, instantiation, another class,
That is what?
myZO.
Why we need that? Why we need to instantiate?
Constructor.
to establish a connection between database. Here I'm going to establish connection, establishing DB connection, right?
Hmm.
That is what I said before. So initializing the database connection. If so, here this path is it not exist at all. Understand? So what happens? So I'm saying retrieve. I didn't say store. If I say store, what happened? It will be created and stored. But I'm saying retrieve. What will happen? What will happen?
It will initiate connection between database.
It will create a new file. So in desktop, so there is a no, the file was not exist at all. It will create a new file called jan batch fs. So fs means file storage. This is the preferable the extension for Zoribi. So we have seen three various extension. What it is? .pkl for pickle, .dbm for shell, .fs for Zoribi. These are three different file extension. So here I'm establishing the DB connections. Once I'm done with it, I'm checking whether it is there. So I've created connection site, that is DB root 1. I'm checking DB root 1. So I'm printing it. So what happens? So here I'm getting an error. It says what might be the error? It's a dictionary like. So the key is not exist, right? It says key error. Deeply nested is not exist. The key is not key error. Deeply nested. See, key error deeply nested, because now only the file was created. Now only the file was created, but you are trying to access it. When you disable, nothing happens. It will simply return empty list or empty key object. Empty list. That's it. This is actually in Python 2. That's why they written an empty list. If it is Python 3, you will get something like this. You will get something like this. Got it? So this is Python 2, so it's simply returning as a list. In terms of Python 3, you will get an object instead. That's it. Got it? So here I'm getting the key error because the key was not exist, because I'm just opening my file. So how to read a key from dictionary without getting an error? Even if it is not exist, it should not return any error. What to do? If you practice very well, you will easily answer it. I want to read a key from dictionary. If keys not exist, it should not raise key error. What to do? So here
Exception
this key was
handling.
not exist. Pardon?
Exception handling.
No. Exception means error handling. I said without error. Exception, you all know the error will occur. We have to handle it. But here I need to read a key without getting an error. Without getting an error. Getting an error. Pardon? That's why you need a practice. Dot get method. So this will return without any error. See, not exist. We can return not exist. Not exist. Otherwise, what happened? You are reading which is something which is not available. So it says error, key error. Understand? Now what to do? I'm going to store into database. Again, I'm establishing a connection. So I took the collection. Inside a collection, I'm storing Python object in it. Once I'm done with it, I'm saying db.close. db.close. Before itself, what is transaction commit means? So transaction commit is purely optional. It is not required at all. But why we need a transaction commit? So just assume you are storing a various Pythonic object. Everything is interconnected. I mean, um, one object is depends upon this. Another object depends upon this means. So if you face any error with this object, what happened? This object was stored. This was not. So it says. So in next time it might says, oh, this was stored, so the object was exist error might be. To avoid that, we are using transaction commit. What happens if it is stored? Everything will be stored. Otherwise, it doesn't store. So once you're getting an error, it will simply move out of it. So nothing will be saved. So nothing saved at all. So that's why we're using transaction commit. It will commit if everything is error free. If in case of in terms of error, what happened? Nothing going to save. That is the difference. Understand? Got it? So here, as like normal. So I said it's a dictionary like. So it's a key, it's a value, key value, key value, key value kind of. That's it. Now once I'm done with it, I'm saying db.close. So to change it, just say store. So 163 byte right now without any save. Total is what? Total is 232 bytes. Let's see. Here I'm going to save Setine Pythonic object, right? Yes, I did with it. Let's move on. Check it. See, the data was stored. Have you noticed that? Previously it was 153 bytes. Now it is 628 bytes. The data was stored. To retrieve, what to do? I have written in a retrieve object. Just say in establishing a connection, start using the collection. That's enough, more than enough. That's it. I'm getting you the data. This is about ZoDB. So have you understand the flow? What is ZoDB? Have you understand? Any doubts in it? Clear? I'm saying these kind of databases available in Python. So when you came across the dependencies or a requirement, then you can choose these kind of data types, databases. It's suggestions. That's it. Got it? Shall we move on to next topic? Or any doubts in it? Hello? Is it confused? Let me know. I will explain once again if you want to. It's like a don't confuse. So it's simply it's like a dictionary. So nothing to confuse with it. If you have anything, just please ask me. Anything?
That that establishing connection, that block.
Pardon?
First one, that class, first
Yes.
class.
Yes.
MyZoDB.
Yeah. Okay.
Explain once again.
So this is what? This is my database file location, right? So
Okay.
we all know how to open a file. This is another file. So what is the traditional method? With the help of open. I said a third-party modules come up with open pre-install. So you don't need to worry about that. That is what it is. In Excel, we have seen such things. In Pill, we have seen such thing. Even in Shell, we have seen such things. It is come up with open pre-install. We don't need to worry about that. Just say file storage will. So even in PySide also we have seen that. In PySide, we have seen qtcode.q file of file name. The file will be read. The UEFI will be read by the Q file module. Similarly, file storage will take care of file reading. So it will. So here we have the file object. So once you're done with this, once you read that file, you need to pass it into database to create or retrieve a database. If this exists, it will be create. If it's not, it will create and retrieve. That's it. That is the difference. Okay. In a DB class, we need to pass that.
Here the database means it's a file or anything.
It will actually create a database inside this file. It will create this database inside this file. So in a ticketer we have seen, right? Button, what to do? Button, we have passed a file in it. So what happens? The button will be created inside that component. Similarly, so in DB will be created inside this file. Because this is a class. So when you execute the class, they might return creating a DB. Where to? This is where it is going to be. they will take this from an argument and create. They will create. This is not a create expression. This is a notation inside this class or a function. They return instruction to create a database. Understand?
So that file will be become a database, right?
The file contains a database in it. Okay. So once done, see that we have a certain for these much of files. The temporary files are there. We never know how to read it. Okay. So once you create a database, we need to establish a connection. What it is. Once you create even in any type of database, so once if you want to use that, we need to open a connection. In SQL, no SQL at all, they will use something called use database. So here say dot open, db dot open. Got it? We're supposed to say db dot open to initiate transactions to store and retrieve from a database. Once you're done with it, just say db dot close. That's it. db dot close. That's it. Got it? So from this database, I have initiated one collections to store your object into this. That's it. And if you want to close, I have used db.close. So this method will be triggered. So here I'm closing various things, like I'm closing the connections. I'm closing a database. I'm closing the storage as well. Storage is what? It's a file. This is a database. This is connection.
Then
Got it?
the DB root one, that one, bro. We already established a connection, right? Then why we need?
It's a connection establishment. Where you want to store? Even in database, we have establishing a connection, right? And say for example, just assume a college is a database. We have open database named college, and we want to store record. Where you going to store? Where do you need to store? Setting corresponding table, right? If it is a student, we need to store into student. If it is a employee, we need to store into employee. If it is an attendance, we need to store into attendance, such thing, right? So, similarly, if you want to store something in it, I'll be establishing the new collection and stored it into some name.
Okay.
That's it. If you want more than that, create something similar thing and use the different names. Understand?
Okay. So if we want to get the values, means we have to use that DB root one. That is the way to get the values from that DB. Okay.
Yeah, that is what I'm doing in a retrieve. Once I stored, I'm saying db.db root. That's it.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
So any doubts? Are you clear now? So this is what we given. That's it. Any doubts?
Hello,
Yeah.
bro. It will act like a relational database or just like a dictionary.
It is a difference. So relational is what? So it's a table-like structure. So here it's a collections. It's what? Dictionary-like.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay.
So next we'll move on to communication between a database with Python. Okay. So what is that? So I will to bridge connection between Python and your database, we need something called a drive. What is drive? Drive is a Python package which is going to deal with a bridge. It is going to establishing the bridge between your Python code and the corresponding databases. Got it? So the package will be depends upon your destination database. So if it is a MySQL, we need to install something called Python MySQL. Say pip install. You need something like that. And if it is so, similarly, if it is Microsoft, what is that? ODBC, like SQL Server. SQL Server, we need a package called ODBC. ODBC. Got it? So it will depend on. So if it is a Postgres, we need something called Psycop G2. It's a depends on. So you need to go through that various packages in pip site. So we need to go through that in pip site. So ODBC driver is there. MySQL, they have MySQL. So this will deals with the communication between your Python code and that. Okay. So I will show you the how to establish connection between Python and MySQL. Okay. So here I'm using a MySQL. You need to say MySQL Python or MySQL client. We can use both, and I need to import. That's it. Once you imported, so how to establish a connection? Once you 3.5. So I've installed. I'm using it. MySQL DB dot connect. The connect is common for all the drivers. So it is an example for polymorphism. It is an example for polymorphism. So, yeah. So it's an example for, you know what is polymorphism. The method was differed, but sorry, that class might be differed, but the method was same. If it is ODBC, just say import ODBC, and the method will be same. So that this will be differed. So it will work with Windows, not with Linux. Sorry, I think I'm having that. Let's see, in ODBC client. DB and just say MySQL.connect. So inside you have to pass host, port, username, password, database. So we need this. So if you don't say host, the default host will be your local IP address. And if you want to communicate with the server IP, we need that corresponding IP. Understand? The corresponding machine IP. Port is for MySQL, the default port is 3306, and username password is for database username password and the database name. That's it. Got it? Understand? So I will leave it as it is. So I don't have an access for my default database. So I need to say user is root password, the pass WD. So both host and port will be default. So I don't need to say that. It is connected. It is connected. That's it. And DB, I will not choose a DB. If you want, just say DB and the DB name. Choose the two. Yeah. So I'm going to say my DB is sample DB. Yes. So I have initiated connection. I'm not established connection. Once you initiated, say connection dot cursor to establish connection. Now only I've established the connection. So here I'm just initiating the connection between database. So with the login and password. So here I'm establishing for a transaction. So I can able to perform transaction. Say dot execute is the method which help us to execute your various queries. So I can execute the entire query in it. The query was executed. It contains 30 rows. So fetch all. It will look like what? Generator. So in Python 3 it will look like a generator. See that you got a data. It is what? It is a relational data. You never know what it is, what it is, what it is, right? Clear? So it
Yes,
is look like what? In we have seen the similar thing in where? Similar concepts in where we have seen that similar concept in SQL. In SQL, sorry, Excel or CSV, we have seen that, right? It is a column based, right? It's a row column relation.
Yes.
Yeah. So what to do then? To make it Python object, what to do?
We
Now
need
it
to
is in
make
a
it
relation.
as
Huh?
a dictionary.
Is it just a dictionary? If it is a dictionary, it is fine with if it is only one data.
Key and key will be the column and
Yeah, that's fine. I'm
values.
saying, is it just a dictionary or what?
It's just a row. Command data command.
I'm
Data.
having these 30 rows. I need to convert 30 rows. You can convert one line into dictionary, that's fine. But how about 30 rows? What is that exact term? It's a list of dictionaries.
Yes.
Got it? So you need to say list of. So once you utilize, the memory will become free. So you need to execute once again. Okay. And I will store this into a variable. Okay. And we don't have a header, right? In Excel, we fetch a header from very first row. So here we don't get that first row as an header because it's a header will be in separate way. So to retrieve that header, just say cursor dot description. I'll print it. You'll get to know in better way. So cursor description will return the header component like a header length, uh, that whether it is which type it was, so the maximum length, the minimum length, the permission, etc. Okay. So where the column name was resides in which position? Which position?
First, zeroth
Zeroth
position.
index. So what to do? Comprehension. I for I in cursor. So what happens? Each time each row will iterate. Inside iterate what I need. What is I need? We need just
Zero.
zeroth index to fetch header. I will save it in a variable called h. Now I got header also values, right? Datas. Now is it possible to convert it to dictionary list? Yes, it is. You
Yes.
can, if you are familiar with you can, if you can do with comprehension, it is more than enough. What to do? Just say d for d in da. D is what your data, and here what to do? We need to convert in dictionary, but it is not possible because we needed two things. So I'm using a zip
Is it?
header comma this and doing this. That's it. The data was converted into list of dictionaries. This is what I've written here. So if you want to perform, just say insert query, and here I'm converting it dictionaries. Got it? So here I make it as a one line. Understand? So one line. That's it. Got it? So now it is in Pythonic format. So I've converted relational into Python. So in ZoDB, you asked me a question, right? So whether it is a relational, no, it is not. It's a Pythonic object. If you want to convert Pythonic object into relational, yes, you can. What to do? You need to pick the value from it. That's it. You need to segregate a row value and column values. Got it? That is a relational. Understand the difference between relational data and Pythonic objects?
Yes, sir.
Are you? Yeah. So any doubts in it?
So
So
we
if you
have
want
to
to
always
understand the
convert it into list. Is
pardon?
that so? If we
Yes.
have to use any of the database in Python, that means that we have to convert it to Pythonic. That means that it is in list format.
Sorry, I didn't get it properly. So
If
hello.
I have to use any of the rows and
Database.
columns being
Okay. Okay.
stored,
Yeah.
if I want to use that in the relational database instead of using directly accessing it in the relational database, if I want to use it in Python, that means that when you say Pythonic, Pythonic is nothing but list.
Okay.
Is that right?
So uh, we can able to use we can able to I mean, what is that? So you have a relational database and in a Python, if you want, why we using from Python? The reason is so some people, so let's say uh, to make it uh, more hold on. So here what I'm saying is I'm saying the connection between Python code and SQL. So reason is we don't need to go to MySQL terminal or Workbench to retrieve the data. So we don't need that. So that is how backend works. So if you're raising any query in even like in my Facebook, Google, etc., they're actually fetching your data from a database, right? So how it is working in a backend, that is what I'm showing. So in Python, I need to establish a connection. What is the role play of database developer and backend developer? Database developer only deal with this database, okay, but backend is they have to come establish a communication between a backend code with the database. So they're supposed to retrieve the data from a database. So this is the way to retrieve the data from a database. And with the help of this module, you can do anything you want. So I mean, what you can do with this tool, you can do the same stuff with Python from Python. So that is all about this model, like MySQL, Python MySQL model. So once just import and you can execute any of your queries. So SQL is what? It is all about query. That is SQL query, right? So you can execute your all of your query with this line. So what you have to follow, you need to establishing a connection and you need to initiate the cursor. Once you're done with it, you can execute all of your SQL query. And why we are using it? So so say for example, in some case, in my cases, I need to delete certain. I got 1,000 records from yes Excel sheet. So say for example, people will give me some Excel like this. So sorry, in my office I got some CSV like this. So it contains some certain a number of rows. It will look like this way. So it will look like this. Okay, so I need to delete all of this from the corresponding table. If it is a database developer, what they do, so they have to prepare a query for like this: insert into, right? But if it is a Python developer, what they do, they will simply say for. They will say what I'm doing, I'm just copying the all of that and I will keep it in a list. So you all what to do, I will keep it in a list. I'll simply say for I in, I will create just simple query in one insert query. I will simply replace it. Okay, so Python will take care of it. So that is called automation. But if it is a database developer, they have to prepare the insert query for various tables. So various tables they have to manually do it. That's why I'm using. Uh, uh, that's why I'm establishing the connection from a Python itself. I'm fetching the document, sorry, data from that DDB. I'm doing what I want in Python itself, and you can you can perform anything you want. So what I mean, what are the transaction is there, or what are the transactions you can perform with MySQL Workbench or any tools, not just a MySQL, in any database, any type of SQL or a NoSQL database. What else you can perform? You can still do the same with Python. uh, Even if you don't know the that SQL query, what else you are actually doing? You are actually preparing the Python code. You are simply replacing the query with the code. So what the SQL developer will give you this query. I'll simply replace this query into my code. That's it, to make it automate. I don't know whether I'm answering your question or not. If not, just tell me. So if I miss something.
No, I understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So you can perform anything you want to with the help of this. So this is the all about driver. That what is the driver going to do? The driver going to establishing the connection between your language, I mean any backend language with a database. So you can perform anything what you can. It's like a bridge, like it's like they call it as an API. Like nowadays you might see uh, you can log in any website with your Google credentials. So they have integrated Google API into their applications. Such similar thing. So we can use MySQL in your code, in our code, with the help of this driver. So this driver plays the roles. So this is how the website works. So in websites, they allow you to log in their website with your Google. Google is a different company. That certain application is different company, right? So say for example, um, like if you are in if you're using just say OLX, they have integrated that Google login into their application with the help of what? So with the help of this kind of driver, so they have installed driver in their application. They have establishing the connection between Google between their application. Got it? So then only they can able to perform the communication between Google and their own application. Similarly, we so it's like a cross-platform connection. So I'm establishing the connection between my application into database. For that, I need a driver because both are different application, different platforms. So this is completely it's a coding, and that is what it's a back. It's a backend that is a database. Both are different. So here the driver plays the it's like a middleman or a bridge. It is establishing it's a connection between your backend and database through the bridge. That's it. That is a role play of the driver. So once you got a connection between database, you can perform anything you want to, but you need to know the SQL query. If you don't know the SQL query, that's fine. DB developer will take care of it. They will give you the query. Just simply replace into your command. That's it. So you need to prepare the Python script. DB developer will deal with the SQL query. Just replace that SQL query into your string. That's it. This is what I'm also doing. So DB developer might initially DB developer gave me these kind of queries, and I will replace this to make it automate. And nowadays I learned it, so I'm doing myself. That's it. Got it? So this is about establishing the connection between a third-party database with Python. And one more thing, if you want to communicate with any database like a MySQL, SQL Server, etc., you should have that application in your machine. Otherwise, it won't work. Like for me, I'm using MySQL because MySQL was installed in my machine, or it's up to you. So it depends upon host. So in another program, I've shown you the ODBC, right? ODB is what? MySQL Server. SQL Server is not there in my machine because it is a Linux. It is not there, but it was installed in remote server. I know a remote IP, remote username, password, remote database name, and its credentials. So I can establishing the connection. So it is not required. You need a database should be installed in your machine. If it is installed in your machine, you can achieve it through your own IP address. If it is installed in remote or something else, you need a connection. It should be your machine, and that machine should be connected in the same network. You need that machine IP address. So no matter whether your database was there in your machine or something else, it is all about your host address. Understand? It is all about your host. So here I've used my own MySQL because I'm using my own IP address. This is your local IP address. If I don't give that, that's fine. It will take default. This is my default IP. And if I want to communicate with someone else, I need that corresponding IP address, and I need that corresponding username and password. Then only I can able to establishing the connection between my machine to that machine. Understand? So any doubts?
So for the case of Oracle database, what will be the driver?
So yeah, you need that the corresponding driver. If you don't have Oracle in your machine, that's fine, but you need that corresponding host name. For Oracle, the port will differ. This is for MySQL. For Postgres, it will be like a 5432 or something. 5432, I guess. So if it is Oracle, the port will still differ. It will change. It will keep changing on depends upon the application. Port. I will explain you what is port in next class. Okay. So you can communicate with Oracle. Either you can achieve it through your install in your machine, or if it is installing. So in terms of Office, like in a common network, we don't have Oracle was installed in our machine. Oracle was installed in a centralized server. We can initiate a communication between through this host IP. So what is an advantage? So it will actually reduce your system performance. So it won't affect your system performance. So if you install that corresponding application in centralized machine, so this will actually reduce your system. So it won't affect your system performance. Your system will be stable because you're using someone machines. That is an advantage. So it's an advantage between using your own machine and centralized machines. Got it? So rest we'll see tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll talk about the internet scripting. So any doubts today? Hello.
So if we want to perform something with a particular row means we have to convert that into
So if you want
collection
to
of dictionary.
No, the dictionary is what to preparing a Pythonic object, and if you want to deal with it. And as he said, if you want to change the corresponding row, you need the corresponding SQL query. That's it. Say for example, I want to update something. Just say update employee. Okay, set. I'm going to say address equal to Chennai. Okay, where name equal to Nepo. Got it? This is my SQL query. I need to copy this code and I need to paste it inside my execute command. I need to paste it here. Then it will work.
Okay.
So you don't need to deal with. It's like in a shell or a pickle we have seen, right? We need to retrieve and we need to change. Not like that. This is a relational. If you want to perform a relational, you need that. You need to know that one. Understand?
Okay. Okay.
Still, if you prefer a Pythonic way, we have a concept called ORM, Object Relational Model. So ORM is deal with it. So for ORM, we needed some third-party packages. We'll see that in internet scripting. What is ORM now? Okay.
Then the data frame.
Pardon?
What is data frame? Data frame means data frame.
Data frame. It is pandas, right?
Yes. Oh.
So it is about pandas. So it's like we have seen a DB root, right? So I have established, right? It's a similar. Inside of pandas, they have a data frame. In that data frame, it's like some Excel sheet. If you have some data sets, we can upload into data frame. So it is actually frame. It is establishing the data framework. So we can group it. It is we have to learn a lot in data pandas. It's a huge. It is like that. So it's a collection from that. So pandas is a data science library. The data frame is one among that. It is establishing the collections, and you can store your data into it, and from that you can play with your data. That's it. Play in the sense we can plot a graph, we can group, we can segregate, we can sort, we can filter, we can do anything we want to. It's a framework.
Okay.
We can
Do we have that pandas topic in our session?
No, it's an advanced. It's a data science.
Okay.
So if you learn everything here, you don't at the end you never know anything, because this is a basic course, right? Once you're done with it, you can, if you have any project related to pandas, start working on. I will help you to. I will guide you that.
Okay.
It's a personally I will guide you that. Okay. Yeah. So we'll see tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.